Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope you are doing well. It is wonderful to have you on with us today in this webinar about imposter syndrome. Okay, so I'm super excited to be here with y'all today. And first off, I just got to say congrats to all y'all. Truly, give a round of applause to yourself right now. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. So I'm only going to talk about one thing with you all today, and that's going to be about being brave. So we're going to talk about what does that mean to be brave, right? Why is being brave important? How is being brave going to help me with imposter syndrome, right? That's why I'm here at this webinar with you right now. But before I even go on this tangent and really get into the nitty gritty as far as some actionable steps to help you guys overcome imposter syndrome, let me just talk about myself real fast. If you didn't know, my name is Dr. J. Yes, my name is Dr. J, and I'm the founder of Don't Be Scared. Okay, so real fast about who I am. Really quick, real fast. I am a native of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Shout out to the Thunder. Woo! You know what I'm saying? We're doing all right. Okay, so I'm born and raised in Oklahoma. I then decided to go to a university. In this case, I got my undergrad in chemistry of all different things at Langston University. Langston University is a HBCU in Oklahoma. We are actually the furthest most west HBCU in the nation, in America. Okay, if you're not familiar with America, if you're watching this from some other aspect of the world. After I got my undergrad in chemistry, I then went to graduate school where I got my PhD in chemistry, specifically in inorganic chemistry. It was a very fun time. So as you could tell, I'm a lion and a tiger at the same time. They call me a liger. Okay. All right. So got my PhD, and then after that, I am a father. Okay. So I have two beautiful daughters. It's been a pleasure to see them grow, and I am truly blessed to have them in my life, as well as with my wife. But ultimately, right, you found me because you heard about Don't Be Scared. And essentially what Don't Be Scared, right, we are literally focusing on one thing, and that is to overcome imposter syndrome. I think of imposter syndrome as being that villain that stops you from reaching your full potential. So if you listened to the podcast, if you heard some of the YouTube videos, or if you've been part of the newsletter, you might have been exposed to it a little bit, okay? But what we're going to do today is we're really going to talk about what that means, okay? What is imposter syndrome? Now, I got 3 goals for y'all today, okay? It's going to be 3 points. Okay, so make sure if you're not doing this already, please pull out a pen and paper. You're going to need to take notes, really dive in and understand this material, right? But ultimately, right, at the very end of this, stay to the very end so that you can get that last nugget, all right? So make sure you watch this full thing. Okay, 3 goals, 3 points. Okay, so the work that you're doing, you could be doing a variety of different things, right? Some of y'all could be in different industries. In science industry, some of y'all might be in tech space, right? Some of y'all might be nurses in the healthcare field, right? Some of you all might be students. It does not matter, right? But we're going to talk about imposter syndrome because it's going to impact more people than you think, all right? That's the ultimate goal that we realize. This impacts more people than you think. So first thing is I need you to banish fear. Okay, so like being at Don't Be Scared, we're going to talk about how you need to stop being scared as if you don't belong at the table. Okay, stop being scared as if you don't know what you're talking about. Stop being scared of being the best version of yourself. So I need you to banish that fear. Get rid of it. Okay. Next thing we will be talking about is we're going to embrace being brave. Okay. So we're going to talk about what the brave framework means and how you can embrace this brave framework to actually overcome imposter syndrome. Okay. So if you use this framework, this will help you stop imposter syndrome and get you closer to reaching your goals and reaching those expectations that you have for yourself. Okay. People depend on y'all. Okay. I can already tell if you're here, that means people depend on you. So you're trying to get better. You're trying to get better overall with yourself. And the last thing is, of course, after you embrace this brave framework, You need to take it another level and unleash your true potential. So we have all of this in us, but it's always up to you to unleash it. Okay. But sometimes, like I said, we got this villain. We got this feeling that it be trying to stop us. It's like that annoying one that never goes away. But what I'm here to tell y'all is that y'all going to find a way to defeat it. And that villain, if you can tell by now, is called imposter syndrome. Okay. It causes you not to reach that new level. But like I tell you, if you embrace the brave framework, if you understand the details right to this framework, and it's very simple. I got it broken down for you. But if you understand it, you will be able to reach that new level. Let's get into it. Woo! Anybody know who that is? Does anybody know who that is? Well, I know who that is. That is First Lady Michelle Obama. Shout out to her. Okay, she's a very influential and powerful woman that has changed so many lives, right? She went into office with Barack Obama, right, in the 2000s, and she was a outstanding first lady, truly. And then she has so many things about her that is just amazing. She's a, mother, wife, lawyer, a giver, so many things that you could say about her. But I want to point into a quote that she actually said a couple years back when she was actually releasing her first bestseller. If any of y'all read that book called Becoming, it was my wife read it. It was a great book. She loved it. But in that quote, when she was being interviewed, she actually said this: "I still have a little bit of imposter syndrome." Whoop, there goes that word. Right, there goes that word. It never goes away. That you're actually listening to me. It doesn't go away. That feeling that you shouldn't take me that seriously. What do I know? What do I know? What do I know? Everybody, this is Michelle Obama. She's saying, what does she know? Oh my gosh, what is this, right? But this is what I want y'all to get, right? This is Michelle Obama. She was a first lady of the White House, with everything that she had going on and accomplished and all the accolades and all the people that knows her and all the powerful people that she's around. She goes through imposter syndrome. There's that word again. What is imposter syndrome? So before I get into imposter syndrome, right, let me tell you one more thing about me. Because like I said, y'all got a brief background about me. You can learn more if you listen to the podcast. But I'm going to tell you about Valerie Young. So like I said, I got a chemistry background, and then you're like, well, why are we listening to somebody who has a chemistry background? Well, the reason why, right, is because I love to learn, and I love to learn from the very best. And one of the very best to talk about this subject is Dr. Valerie Young. Okay, she's a huge thought leader in this space, and she's been researching imposter syndrome, for decades now. Okay. And she has tons of TED Talks. I highly recommend you go research her, look at a TED Talk. And she has a bestseller, The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women. And she and her co-founder founded the Imposter Syndrome Institute. Okay. And I was blessed to join this institute. Okay. So as an associate, I have a good idea, some expertise, right, as far as what imposter syndrome is about. Okay. And what I learned from that institute, I'm going to share with y'all. Okay. Because I learned a great deal. Spent something too. But I want to point out to a quote here. Everybody loses when bright people play small. Like I said, let me say that one more time. Everyone loses when bright people play small. Wow. Right? That's huge, because I believe it to be true. It's really true. No one wins when you hold that brilliant idea in your head. Right? Because you are nervous or worried or scared, right, what somebody's going to think about you. You worry about what Joe about to say about you. If you say the idea, you could change your life. You could literally change your life in that one instance if you just spoke. Let me tell you something. We can't afford for that idea to be locked away. That idea could go on and change the world, right? Unleash it. Now, what causes ideas to be locked away? I believe I can answer that, right? And let's talk about what causes ideas to be locked away. Imposter syndrome. Woo, there goes that word again, right? There goes that word again. So, have you ever looked in a mirror and see someone you can't fathom to be real, right? Well, we call that imposter syndrome, right? A simple definition for this is a feeling of self-doubt or insecurity that persists despite being educated, having all the necessary requirements, all of them. So I'm talking about certifications, degrees. You got 10, 15, 20 years of experience that you gained over the years. All of that, all the stuff that you learned on the job, right? But you have an insecurity, keyword insecurity, despite all of your accolades, your rewards, the certificates, everything that you got and gained over the years. So when you have this insecurity, right, you start to get this feeling that you do not belong. You feel you are a fraud and imposter, and that the whole world will find out that you don't belong here. Yes, I got you, right? You don't deserve that. When I say that, I'm talking about your success, right? You don't deserve your success. That's what you start to think if you have imposter syndrome. You start to hear this little voice in your head. Now, I don't know if some of you all have it, but I can say I have it. Sometimes, right, that voice in my head says, who do you think you are? You can't do that. That voice be saying in my head, it's only a matter of time before they realize you ain't what you say you are. And because of this, we create excuses for ourselves as to how you got to where you are, as if your success is fake news. Yes, your success is fake news. You're successful, but it's fake news. People who feel like this finds themselves making all types of excuses for their success because they don't believe it is to be true themselves. So they give their success to other things. Not to themselves, but to other things. Like, for instance, I'm successful because I'm nice, right? I'm successful because I have a wonderful personality. I'm the best in the world, right? Man, what is wrong with people like you, right? Would you rather have them hate you, right? Do you see that excuse that you're saying right there? Or what about I'm successful because I'm lucky, right? I hit the jackpot, right? You can see, right, the horseshoe, the four-leaf clover, the jackpot, right? I'm successful because it was luck. I was at the right place at the right time at the right moment. And I met the right person. That's how I got successful. I'm the luckiest person in the world. Y'all seeing where I'm going with this, right? Okay. Let's not. All right. So, once again, we talking about imposter syndrome, right? We could say that I'm successful because, once again, you're not giving nothing to yourself. You're saying I'm successful because, let's break this down. I'm successful. Now, what I want to do right now is I just want to talk about this picture. And then I'm going to break down what this is, what this picture means, right? But this is a father with his kids, and he's doing a experiment. I told you, I have a chemistry background, right? And this one really resonates with me the most. But I'm successful because anybody can do this, to be honest with you. That's what you say. Anybody can do it. This is one of my favorite excuses I truly use myself, right? Like I usually say anybody can get a PhD in inorganic chemistry. That's not that hard. Anybody could get a PhD in inorganic chemistry in 4 years. That's not that hard. Anybody can do this. How many of y'all have said that before? Right? Anybody can do this. Anybody can do the job I do. Anybody can do this. Anybody can do the work that I do. So in this picture, right, this has this little boy and this little girl trying to do the work that this dad is trying to do. Because he thinks anybody can do it. Right? That's what you're saying. Anybody could do this. Or what about this excuse? I'm successful because I had help. I'm successful because I had help. I knew the right person who knew somebody else who helped me get to the point right here, right? That I had help getting to where I go. I'm successful because Gary help me out. Man, if it hadn't been for Gary, boy, I don't know where I'd be. Boy, Gary, thank you so much. All right? Thank you to Gary. I would have never made it. Man. So this is what I'm getting at, right? With imposter syndrome is that it's like you're really trying to convince yourself that you had no role in this come up to your success. Truly. You start giving yourself all these different excuses, right? Saying that you had help, saying that you're lucky, right? All these different excuses. And then because you haven't given your success to yourself, right? Because you have given all these excuses, you start to rethink some things, right? You start to think, well, is it really luck, right? Or was it the right connections? What am I just nice? What? These things helped you get to where you are, but please remember and give yourself some credit here. Even with the right timing or great personality, that's not all it took. Come on now. Come on. Do you really think they giving you a promotion because you nice? Are you serious right now? So what happens with imposter syndrome, right, is that if you don't know how you got successful or give credit to all these other factors alone, the only thing you would think when you are around these other highly successful people, your peers, is that you are an imposter, a sham, a con artist, a phony, a fraud. Because you don't even know how you got to the seat, right, to this webinar that you are at right now. You an imposter? Man. So, right, because you're an imposter and you think that you're an imposter, right, because you've given all of your success to these other factors besides yourself, I'm about to call the police. And I'm about to ring the alarm. Boy, I'm about to ring it right now, right? There is an imposter in a building. I'm about to tell everybody at your job you are an imposter right now. No, I'm not. I'm just playing. I'm not about to do that, y'all. I promise you. I'm not about to go up to your job, call your CEO, be like, hey, Sarah, did you know she a imposter? No, I'm not about to do that, okay? However, I do want to point this out. Okay? You are not the only one. You are not the only one. Okay? This is something that it's a phenomenon. It's actually crazy how much is a lot of stats that goes with this. Okay? So, you're not alone. Okay, and then we about to ring the alarm on some of these stats. Shout out to Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? This is from her old album. You know, if y'all some Beyonce fans and you know about her, but this was ring the alarm when, ring the alarm. I've been gone this long. This is when she was angry, right? I love it. But we about to start ringing the alarm on some stuff right now, right? So let's ring the alarm. First alarm, let's ring the alarm. Let's ring the alarm. A study published in the International Journal of Behavioral Science found that approximate, all right, so we just saying this is around, this is an estimate here, 70% of individuals will experience imposter syndrome at some point in time in their lives. 70% of people. This was back in 2007. That's actually a little higher now, around 80%. Okay. Now, let me tell you something right now. I'm one of those people. Raise your hand right now if you are one of those people, right? So that's the reason why I say you are not the only one. There are many people who have experienced this, including myself. Let me ring the alarm again. Let me ring the alarm. A study published in the Journal of Vocational Behavior found that among professionals with advanced degrees, 33% experience imposter syndrome. 33%. That's a third, y'all. That's a third of people with high degrees. So I'm talking about PhDs, MDs, JDs, any of those acronyms, right? A lot of people. So if you see how this can impact you, right? Let me ring the alarm one more time. Let me ring the alarm. And this one's personal towards me. A study published in a Journal of Management Education found that among faculty members, so I was a former faculty member myself in higher education, imposter syndrome was associated with increased levels of anxiety, decreased job satisfaction. I can't even talk right now, right? And a study published in the Journal of Management Education found that among faculty members in higher education, imposter syndrome was associated with increased levels of anxiety, decreased job satisfaction, and lower self-efficacy in teaching. So what happens with imposter syndrome is that we find out that there's certain behaviors that come from this. Now, with these behaviors, that's where imposter syndrome starts to get heavy. Anxiety, right? When it starts to impact how you are thinking. But what happens when it starts to impact how you think? It's going to start to impact your behavior. And if it starts to impact your behavior, it's going to start to impact how productive you are. So that's why it gets scary, right? To where now it starts to hinder your success if you're experiencing imposter syndrome. So, side note, right? That's the reason why you got to be careful with this stuff, man, because it can really limit your potential. So, I want to talk about two extraordinary people right now. First person I want to talk about, if you don't know who this young lady is Malala Yousafzai. Okay. Now she, if you don't know anything about her, right? She was a young woman who was fighting for human rights in education. All right, she was a huge education advocate. That's the reason why I know her, y'all. My background is in education, right? But she gained international attention after an attack in 2012. If you didn't know, she was advocating for girls' education. Like I said, I got 2 daughters, and they shot her in the head. Like, it's crazy. They shot her. Oh my gosh, it was a crazy situation. And she's actually the youngest ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. She won it back in 2014 at the age of 17. Crazy, amazing, fearless. Okay. And now she has a fund that, she's continuing to really champion girls' education globally. Amazing. The other man, if you're not familiar with this person, is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Huge role model to me. He was a huge figure in the American civil rights movement, right? He was the person that had the speech, I Have a Dream, back in 1963. But if you don't know about Martin Luther King Jr., he was a civil rights activist, right, that really wanted to have change in America, right? He inspired millions of people to fight for equal rights. And he actually won a Nobel Peace Prize, too, in 1964. And his legacy continues, right? Like I said, even I know who he is, right? Even now. He's also an alpha man. Now, what do they have in common? They got a lot of things in common, all right, to be honest. Like one, if you haven't noticed, they both won Nobel Peace Prize. Crazy. At the time, too, they were both the youngest. But what I want to focus on, right, is as far as what they have in common is that they were both brave. Like truly brave individuals. Like the courage that it takes to do the things that they were trying to do. They had to tap into a whole nother level to be the person that they were and are. Okay? To make sure that they were challenging those different things that they were trying to pursue. Visionaries, I would like to call them. And just imagine this, if they had not been brave enough, I'm sure that if they hadn't been brave enough, I don't know, I'm sure they felt uncomfortable and scared at times. I know, right? Being the only person in the rooms that look like who they are, the only woman, the only African American, right? Talking about the different topics at the time that they were trying to talk about. Man, they were changing lives. And imagine if they hadn't been brave in the face of danger, what would have happened to them, but also what would have happened to us? So yes, being brave is a lot. And we're going to talk about how being brave can help overcome imposter syndrome. So being brave is more than what we just think it is. But by definition, to be brave means you're having or showing mental or moral strength to face danger, fear, or difficulty. You're brave. Got this picture of this boy on the rock, right? Got a little boo-boo on his knee. But he's staying with it. He's being brave. That's what being brave is. But what we're going to find out is that brave is more than just a word. It's a framework, a state of mind, that each individual letter is an acronym. Okay, we're going to get into the acronym. But once again, please stay with me, right? If you need to pause me, do whatever you got to do. Take a little water break. And then we're going to come back. So everyone can apply the principles of brave in our own lives. Okay, like I said, we're about to talk about the principles. But from the way that we approach our work, our relationships, to our personal goals and aspirations, brave is a saga of resilience, right? It's a saga of growth. It's a saga of triumph over adversity. All right, that's what brave is, y'all. It's about being the hero of your own life's story. Okay, so let me talk about something else, a saga, right? What exactly is a saga? So you might have heard of a saga in the literature, right? In anime, if you like anime, or if you like, just storytelling in general, right? So a saga really unfolds over time, right? And it can really portray heroes, really showing them in different situations and in all different types of cases, right? So when we think about, right, a brave saga, which we're going to talk about right here in a little bit, right, it's a lot of commitment to your development, right? What is your brave saga? So here's an example of a wonderful saga, if you don't know, like the Marvel Universe. A saga is a epic narrative that unfolds over several storylines, right, throughout the series. Details the journeys, the challenges, the triumphs of the hero. So, for example, if we're thinking about Marvel, right, like if we think about one of the main characters like Iron Man, he had a saga. His saga was he had a transformation that he was a self-centered, rich billionaire who didn't care about anybody. What was he doing? He was selling weapons of mass destruction to other countries. Like he did not care and he didn't care what happened as long as he got his. But if you pay attention to his saga, you see by the end of it, Iron Man became a selfless hero who said at the end of it, he ended up giving his life, right, to try to change and save the world. A saga, right? A dramatic and often complicated story of events. That is what a saga is. And when you combine both of these, we have a brave saga taking place here, right? These sagas are filled with adventures and incredible things, but they also have struggles, with self-doubt and the quest to figure out who you are, and then sacrifices for the best of the good and resilience to overcome adversity. All of this happens, and all of this happens in your life, right? Just like with you as a person right now, listen to this. You are the hero in your story. You are the individual, right? And you may not be fighting aliens or trying to stop robots from taking over the world yet, maybe. But no matter what, you are still a hero. So your brave saga, it might involve overcoming the fear of something, the fear of public speaking, right? The fear of moving past a challenging a period of your life of striving to be a better leader at your workplace, right? Or even trying to be healthier and have a better work-life balance. Either way, you have your own brave saga. Every step forward you take, every challenge you overcome, every time you embody the brave principles here that we're about to talk about, these are milestones in your brave saga. But what I want y'all to just understand, right, is that you are a hero, just like the Marvel universe. You have overcome obstacles, right? You have achieved your goals. So let's understand this brave saga, because once again, this is it's a concept for your personal and professional growth. Okay? And like I said, this brave saga is part of the brave framework. And this framework is, think of it as a pyramid. And starting off with the brave framework, we have B, which stands for believe in yourself. So to believe in yourself, right, this involves trusting your abilities, respecting your journey, and recognizing your unique potential. Okay? So it's going to encourage you to have faith in your capabilities, but as well to be your true and authentic self. Okay? So literally you could start trusting your instincts. If you don't trust your instincts, you can't make the decision that you need to make. And that's in the case of if you disagree or agree with someone. Pursuing a dream despite having criticism or doubt. You must believe in yourself. And that's the reason why B, to believe in yourself, is the base of this framework. It starts with self-belief, right? Because what's imposter syndrome? Self-doubt. So the opposite of self-doubt is what? Self-belief. You have to believe that you deserve and you are capable of your success. It means that you must recognize your strengths. You must embrace your unique, you must recognize your strengths. You must embrace how unique you are. Okay? You can't be afraid to be yourself. So that's the reason why B is the foundation to overcoming imposter syndrome. It's the base. Okay? You need to understand that you deserve You deserve, in this case, you're deserving of your accomplishments, your accolades. You're capable of achieving your goals. Now, you may often feel overwhelmed. I'm pretty sure you do, with your responsibilities of guiding whatever projects you're on, or questioning whether you are capable of doing your role. You know, you might, like I said, give it to those other factors. You might think you just lucked up and got this role. So the first thing I want y'all to realize is that self-doubt is a classic sign of imposter syndrome, one of the signs. Now, the first step to overcoming this belief is you need to make sure you have, first off, this self-belief in yourself. Recognize and acknowledge your strengths. Each of you here today, you have your own unique set of skills, your own set of knowledge, right? Your own experience. And you bring value to whatever you do, right? You need to understand that you are a unicorn. You are a literal unicorn because you are your own individual self. It's not luck that has brought you to where you are, unicorn, but your hard work, your dedication, and your unique abilities. So whether you're an expert at whatever you do, if it's one thing or another, I know it could be literally anything. I don't know. But you know what you are an expert in. So it's important to recognize and celebrate your strengths, unicorn. So as well as, right, believing in yourself, you have to believe in yourself involves embracing your unique, you have to believe in yourself. It involves being unique and being authentic, right? To be authentic, right, that means that you are being true to your values, your beliefs, and your experiences, right? Even when they differ from everybody else around you. It's about not being afraid to be yourself. Truly not being afraid, right? If you're taking on that project and you don't know anything about it, you have to believe in yourself because you have the capabilities that even got you in that room to be recognized, to be put in that situation that you are in right now. Embrace it. Embrace your unique background, your unique experiences. They bring a fresh perspective, right, to the project. We need that. We need that. We need you. They need you. They need you. That's what you need to start thinking. They need you. So believe in yourself. If you're not going to believe in yourself, who about to believe in you? And that's the reason why it's a framework, right? That's the reason why I'm harping in on this one. Because it's truly important. Being authentic to yourself shows a lot. Right? Self-belief lies in celebrating your individuality and practicing authenticity, right? It can align your actions to your core values, beliefs, and experiences. Okay? Never compromise who your true self is. So I'm about to let's talk about example, right? I don't know, this figure is kind of polarizing. I don't know where you lean. I don't care where you lean. Let's talk about this guy. If you don't know who this is Donald Trump, a businessman turned politician, okay? So he recently became president, as you all may have heard. And I don't really want to get into the politics. I just want to talk about, right, this guy had a background in business and reality TV. Fired many people. You're fired, He fired Nene. You know what I'm saying? So he has his own individual experiences, which are very different from some of his, the previous presidents. But it provided him with a unique perspective and approach. And, despite all the criticism and everybody that was opposed to him, he maintained his true, authentic self, his distinct style, And it resonated with a significant number of people to who ultimately decided to vote him in. And being his true self, right, was a key part to his campaign. So the importance of believing in yourself is so important to where if you have that much self-belief, you could become president of the United States. Right? Let's move on. Let's talk about the next in our framework. R for respect yourself. Respect yourself. All right. So this step is all about how you value yourself. In this case, we're talking about both your mind and body. Okay. So this respect is going to come from the belief in your own worth and abilities. Okay. So you got to make the choices that reflect your new now self-belief, your new now self-esteem. And you need to surround yourself with people who appreciate and uplift you. Okay, so this might involve setting boundaries to ensure a healthy work-life balance, or, just taking some time out for self-care, or just really focusing on your mental health, like truly, right? You got to pay attention to that, right? Self-respect is going to guide the choices that we make and the company we keep, like truly. It leads us to make decisions that reflect our self-esteem and to associate with people who appreciate and uplift us. Like truly, know who you working around, who you around, man. So I want to talk about another person. RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? So this late Supreme Court justice, she was a prime example of someone who embodies self-respect, right? Despite facing gender-based discrimination, early on in her career, because, she's a Supreme Justice. She's only, only female. You know how it is. She's literally the only person, the only female in the room in these situations. But she surrounded herself with individuals, right, who were also game changers. And her self-respect enabled her to make a significant contribution, right, to the field of law, and especially to women's rights. It's important to foster that environment of respect, right, truly, right, and to remember that each one of you deserves to be here, to be there, to be in your role. Always remember that. And each one of you is capable of making a meaningful impact, truly. So when we talk about self-respect, right, we got to talk about, when it comes to self-respect, we got to talk about all the different factors here, right? Because we have to consider our mind, right, and how we value our thoughts and our ideas and feelings. And it's about understanding that your perspective is valid and important, even if people disagree or differ from you. Because once again, it starts with the B. You got to believe in yourself with your unique set of skills. Your insights are valuable, so have respect for them, right? No matter the situation that you are in. Self-respect, right? It extends to not only our mind, but also our body. And this is something that I learned personally myself. And even that I struggle with, right? Because I understand that health is truly wealth, right? And taking care of our bodies, our mental and our physical bodies, is critical for our success and happiness. Truly. It's super easy to overlook your physical health because we just so busy. We're busy with our lives. We're busy about thinking about everything else. We're taking care of other people. And then when we finally get a chance to chill out, and get that 10 to 15 minutes to ourselves, we're not focused on that. We're just trying to escape and enjoy our lives, But what happens, right, is that if we start to not pay attention to that, it starts to impact us. And once again, it goes back to how can we become our better versions of ourselves? How can we be the best version of ourselves, right? How can we reach our full potential? Because once again, that's what's happening with imposter syndrome, those mechanisms that stops us from being our best selves. So moving on, let's talk about A in this framework. Like I said, y'all, if you embrace this framework, you will be able to understand and overcome imposter syndrome. So A, acknowledge your journey. This step involves understanding and accepting your past, including both your victories and your failures. Once again, they all contribute to the person you are today. It's who you are. So by acknowledging, your journey, you give yourself the permission to learn from the past and move forward. Truly. We all have our success and our failures, our joys and our pains, right? This is about how we embrace our past experience. And we embrace them not as failures, but we embrace them as lessons. These are not hindrances, right? They shaped who you are today. They helped move you in the direction that you are in today. Every person is a sum of their experiences, the triumphs, the challenges, everything in between. So if you acknowledge your journey, it's about recognizing and accepting all aspects of your past. Truly. This understanding, when you start to understand this, you start to look at life different. Truly. It's like I said, it's a framework. You believe in yourself. Then once you believe in yourself, you respect yourself. Then you acknowledge your journey. Then you start to look at life different. This understanding allows you to appreciate how far you've come and the growth you've undergone. Suppose, right, somebody gave you some type of task, right, for a project, and despite doing your best, you just wasn't able to do it. So, right, you would have probably been like, oh, dang, what a failure. I'm a failure. You notice how I said you. Knew you, now that you understand, you acknowledging your journey, good and the bad, you understand that this is essential to your growth. Think of it as it's part of the journey. It's part of the process. It's a stepping stone that's going to allow you to learn and grow. So when we are acknowledging our journey, we got to celebrate our wins, y'all. We got to celebrate our victories. Because too freaking often, we downplay our success. Once again, that goes to imposter syndrome. You downplay your success. You give it to all these external factors. And what happens when you downplay your success? You are quickly moving on to the next thing. You didn't even have time to take recognition of what you just done. Now, this is what I want to do, right? I don't necessarily do this all the time, but I want to give you a key takeaway. If you don't remember nothing else, remember this. Let's talk about a victory jar. So what is a victory jar, Dr. J? Okay, so let's talk about it. And so this is a very simple but powerful exercise that's going to help you remember and celebrate your victories, your wins, okay? So it's very simple. Each time you achieve a goal or some type of experience, a win, whatever, anything in this case, no matter how small, how medium, how big it is, I need you to start writing it down. Write it down on a piece of paper and then put it in a jar. Simple. Any win. I lost a pound. Write that down. I got a promotion. Write that down. I helped somebody else. Write that down. Write it down. Anything. Then at the end of the year, or in particular, if you're feeling doubtful about yourself, you go over to that victory jar that you just created, open up that jar, and then read one of the beautiful and amazing things you've done. So this is basically a tangible way, right? A tangible way that you have a reminder for yourself. And this, just doing this simple, powerful exercise is a way to provide a boost to your self-belief, your confidence, to help you combat those imposter feelings, those of imposter syndrome. So what I want everybody to do right now, for 1 minute, write down that one win. Write it down. Literally write it down. If you don't got no paper, write it down in your notes on your phone. And write a session in your phone called Victory Notes or something. Write it down. I'm going to give y'all 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. So if you don't know, here's a win if you wasn't able to, write down the win. I understand it could be tough. I totally understand it. It could be a tough thing to think about, right? Especially if you don't have self-belief in yourself, a win for yourself in a day. Especially in a day to where, right, you were feeling bad or you're just feeling unproductive about something. But let me tell you the one win that for sure you got right now. You came to this webinar. You are in this webinar right now, growing and becoming a better version of yourself of yourself. So that's a win. Write that down. All right, I just gave you a free win. Now your goal is to fill up that jar, fill up those notes, right? Fill up that whole paper of just wins. And once again, I promise y'all, right? I promise you, if you go back at the end of the year, because like I said, I do this myself. At the end of the year, I look at my jar, be like, oh my God, especially at the end of the year, you be like, man, ain't nothing going on. I didn't do nothing this year. But then when you look at that jar of all your wins, man, just to look at it, you start to look at life different. So, y'all, I love stories, right? And we can learn a lot from stories, including those in movies. And Pixar, if you don't know about Pixar, it's under Disney. They tell beautiful stories of characters, right? And in most of these stories, you're gonna see some growth in their journeys. So I want to talk about this movie right here. If you haven't heard about this movie, this is a Disney Pixar movie called Ratatouille. Crazy movie. So you got Remy. Remy's a rat. It's crazy. I don't even like rats. I really don't. They make me uncomfortable. I had a bad situation where I had to look under the bed when I was a young kid because we had some rats in our house. I looked in the bed. There was a rat in the shoe. I was done. Okay, so I don't like rats, but Remy's a rat. And he has dreams of becoming a chef. And basically in this movie, right, despite the obstacles that he will face because he's a rat who wants to be a chef, right, he's going through so much, right? He's a different species. His family don't agree with what he's doing, right? But he never loses sight of his goal. He acknowledges his journey, right? He acknowledges all that, and he uses it as fuel for what he's trying to do. So just like Remy, right, it's important for us to acknowledge our own journeys, to embrace our past, and to use it as stepping stones towards achieving our goals. Okay, let's move on to the next one. V. V stands for voice your truth. So this is all about using your voice confident. So V stands for voice your truth. This is all about how you're going to use your voice with confidence. Okay. This is how you're going to express your ideas. This is how you're going to express your concerns. This is how you're going to express your beliefs. This step, though, like I said, this is a framework. Believe in yourself is a base. So this step only becomes possible once you have went up the ladder in the pyramid, right? You went up the steps, right? So once you hit that B, you understand that, okay, now I believe in myself. Okay, great. I can do anything and I'm capable. Then once you hit R, you understand, okay, I got respect. I understand and I respect my beliefs and my body and everything that I have because I am a person of value. I value myself. And then at the R, you have A, which you are now saying you acknowledge yourself and your journey. You understand that you are a person with many things in their past, and it's okay because we all have a past. So once you understand all three of these, you can now get to V, to where now you realize your voice matters. And not only does it matter, but boy, it deserves to be heard. This is about having the courage to speak up for what you believe in. Whether it's advocating for a cause or expressing your ideas in a meeting, right? Or even having that difficult conversation with a loved one. You need to voice your truth. Voice your truth, right? You got to be confident when you go about and express your ideas. You speaking up about a new approach on a project, right, can raise some concerns. Or sharing your personal experience that can provide valuable context to your work. So to voice your truth, you got to have confidence, right? Like I said, it's a build up to this. So you got to do all those different things. Like I said, believing in yourself, confidence with your ideas, perspectives, valid and important, respecting yourself, valuing your own thoughts and feelings. 2, voice them. Acknowledge your journey helps you realize that your unique experiences provide you with valuable insights. Man, I just keep saying y'all need to be heard. That's all imposter syndrome's doing. They blocking y'all from being heard. And in most of these situations, right, I can't go into everything that's involved in imposter syndrome because it's a very complex subject, right? But it's different mechanisms that stop you from reaching your goals. But if you understand this framework, it don't matter. You will be able to overcome this. And that's how you can empower you to voice your truth. Let's talk about somebody, right? You need to make yourself heard. So this wonderful woman right here, Tarana Burke, she's the founder of the Me Too movement. Okay, this is a wonderful example of voicing your truth, right? She bravely voiced her truth about her experience with sexual harassment and assault. Her voice resonated with millions around the world, right? And it led to a global movement. It was crazy. It changed a lot of different things that impacted a lot of lives. And she brought attention to an issue that needed to be voiced. So just like you being similar, right? Your voice too has power. Not only does it have power, but it has power to influence. It has power to bring about change within your own circle. So I need y'all to remember, I need you to remember that your voice matters and it deserves to be heard. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and go. Let's go to the E. Let's go to the E here. I need you to exceed your expectations. E, exceed them. Let's talk about this. Let's break this down. Let's break this one down. Let's break this one down. So when I say exceed your expectations, notice how this is at the top of the pyramid. Like I said, it's a framework. You needed the B, the R, the A, the V to even get to expectations. Because if you didn't believe in yourself, you don't really got expectations. You got somebody else's expectations. All right, let's talk about this. All right. So this E for exceeding your expectations is about setting your personal goals. So this is based on your aspirations and then striving not just to meet them, but I need you to exceed them. It's about pushing your boundaries and challenging yourself and celebrating your progress without comparing yourself to others. So this basically means you need to challenge yourself to step out your comfort zone. Get uncomfortable being uncomfortable right now, okay? You need to achieve beyond what you may think is possible. And continue to setting and meeting higher and higher goals for yourself. Exceed your expectation. Think of it like this, y'all. Think of it like a race, right? You got those who sprint to the finish line are the ones who truly succeed. You know, if you are a runner or anything, you ever race somebody, you know that you don't let up at the very end there, right? Because the ones that start to let up at the very end, guess what happens? The ones that never let up past them and keep going. So you don't slow down at your goal, right? You keep going past that goal. So when we're talking about exceeding your expectations, this is about not slowing down when you're near your goal, but rather pushing harder and challenging yourself to go much further than you even thought you could have went. And then when I'm talking about exceed your expectations, right? Notice the key word your. So there's many situations to where people can put expectations on us, on you. They have an expectation of you, and you want to meet their expectations. However, this is about you, your. So in this case, right, if people don't think anything of you, they're going to give you low expectations. Or they might give you high expectations, it doesn't matter, but they have an expectation about you. And you need to realize that you need to get into your own bag and exceed your own expectations, your. And then notice, like I said, this is a framework. Notice how E is at the top. So when we have expectations for ourselves, what normally happens? Usually, with y'all being the high achievers that you probably are, you're going to reach your expectations. I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 times you are reaching your goals. I'm pretty sure. Y'all are some brilliant people right now. You're brilliant. But guess what happens? Because you know you're going to reach your goals, you never really challenge yourself. Woo! Come on, man. Come on. Am I talking to you right now? Am I talking to you right now? So your expectations is you, because if you didn't believe in yourself, you probably had low expectations of yourself. But you being the high achiever you are, you probably reach your expectations every time. But what happens if you always have low expectations? You never reach your true potential. Because you scared people are going to realize you might be an imposter or a fraud. So you don't ever give yourself those high expectations. So I want to talk about this real quickly, right? We got two cats over here. We got the cat who got the big rat and the cat who got the small rat. And look how he looks sad. Key thing, just to point out this quote: comparison is the thief of joy. Mittens. Comparison is the thief of joy. Mittens. Right? So this is what happens, right? When you got other people giving you expectations, right? Is that you think of this as this your own mountain, and you got your own journey to climb. You don't have any business looking towards the left and looking towards the right of your shoulder, or looking across the street, or looking on the other way when you're on this mountain, because you're on your own mountain, right? So when we start to compare ourselves to other people, that is going to mess up our journey on our own mountain. What happens, and what typically happens, is that you start comparing yourself, and then you just want to stop because your mouse isn't what their mouse is. But what y'all don't realize is that even though if you just focus on your own mountain, you got a higher elevation than your competition. Stop comparing and just focus on your own expectations. Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar, right? If we think about hip hop, Kendrick Lamar is a great artist, one of my favorites. He always pushed boundaries. So he's always been an artist to me that's always been different, right? Just a unique sound. And to me, he really never settles for the normal. People might have expectations of what he should do, but he never really thought about doing what other people thought. Right? His debut album, right? Good Kid, Mad City was a story. And then people was thinking for his next album, it was going to be like that. Was y'all wrong? He came out with To Pimp a Butterfly. It had funk, jazz, and spoken word. It was just different. But he was talking about crazy themes that were so much. And it's still just one of a great album, right? Even with Mr. Morale. But he had expectations that he exceeded his own expectations with that album. Blew him to a whole stratosphere. And he continued to have expectations for himself. Even now, Kendrick Lamar does not play by anybody's rules. He plays by his own rules, right? He has expectations of himself, and he's focused on reaching his own expectations. And we all should have that expectation of ourselves, right? To expand our boundaries, right? Just like him. So what happens now, right, is that once you start to embrace being brave, you realize that, okay, if you banish your fear to embrace the brave framework, you can really unleash your potential. And what I like to think of it as being a maze, right? Imagine you're entering a maze and you're looking out to the unknown and you're just scared of fear. This could be something that you're scared of, to do something that you've never done before, right? You got fear of failure. You got fear of being judged. You got fear of not being good enough. It's just a fear. And what happens is that fear is amplified by imposter syndrome. Because, this fear is like a chain or a maze. It's trapping and holding us back from pursuing our dreams, getting to our goals, and reaching our true potential. That's what this is. It's a maze in our head. However, here's a great thing about you, right, is that you can get out of this maze, these chains, right, with the brave model. Because once you get into the maze, right, you got to figure out how can you be the best version of yourself? How can you be believe in yourself, and how self-belief? That is the opposite of self-doubt, which is imposter syndrome. And then if you start to believe in yourself and your abilities, right, when you are exposed to that new thing or that thing that they want you to do, you could start believing, oh, I am competent in what I do. And you can start to see past those fears. And you start imagining the goal as you are in this maze. And then you go to art, and then you start to respect your body and mind, your mental. Because you realize that, oh, I got self-worth. I got value. Because now you started believing in yourself. Telling you that your dreams are worth fighting for and worth pursuing. And then once you hit the R, you then hit the A when you start to acknowledge your past. And you realize that your past experience is what made you who you are today, the good and the bad. It don't matter. But you acknowledge them now, and you realize that these were not failures. These were learning lessons. And now, right, with the victory jar, you're able to celebrate your own victories and use them as stepping stones to forge ahead to the V, which now you can start to voice your truth. And you start to speak up for yourself. Take courage, right? It does. Especially when you might be standing alone like you are in this maze right now. But now you can voice your concerns and you could assert your value. And then if you assert your value, you can now have influence in wonderful ways. And then lastly, once you finally hit that V, you then get to the E. And then you have exceeded your expectations. By setting those ambitious goals and striving to exceed your own expectations, you challenge yourself to grow and evolve. And every time we surpass a self-set boundary, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of more than we think. And now you have leached your full potential after we banished that fear and embraced being brave. Because the thing about imposter syndrome, y'all, is that unfortunately it doesn't go away. The best thing that you can do is continue to be brave and keep going. And that's what all Don't Be Scared is about. We are out here to spread this message of being brave and overcoming imposter syndrome. So my question to you, right, is if you have value in this, please feel free to share our brand and share this webinar. Send it over to somebody to tell them about us. All right? Because once you are brave, you can start to ask, how will your saga end?